American forces recently launched a massive assault on southern Iran, sending missiles into naval infrastructure and active military launch sites along the coastline. The primary target of these strikes is Bandar Abbas. This sprawling coastal port and airfield operates as a central hub for Iranian naval capabilities. But while these facilities were burning, American and Iranian negotiators were actively sitting across from each other at a peace table in Doha, Qatar. U.S. leaders maintain that these attacks are not the end of discussions. Senator Marco Rubio specifically emphasized that diplomacy remains the preferable outcome for the United States. These bombings are not a declaration of war or a failure of the talks. Instead, the strikes function as a kinetic negotiating tool, using destruction in Iran to exert direct pressure on the negotiators in Doha. To understand Iran's massive leverage in these talks, look at this map of the Persian Gulf. Notice this narrow bottleneck, the Strait of Hormuz. An enormous volume of global energy and commercial shipping must pass through this exact waterway to reach the open ocean. Iran knows it cannot defeat the U.S. Navy in a conventional conflict. Consequently, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps relies entirely on asymmetric tactics, using small, fast speedboats to aggressively harass and corner massive commercial tankers. Their ultimate asymmetric weapon is the naval mine. These black, spherical explosives can be left floating or submerged remotely, waiting to rip through the hull of a passing vessel. It only takes 2 or 3 hidden mines to terrify global insurance companies. If insurers refuse to cover a cargo ship, commercial maritime traffic instantly shuts down. By utilizing cheap, low-tech sea mines, Iran effectively holds the global supply chain hostage, creating immediate economic leverage over the United States. The American military response is an initiative called Project Freedom. The United States deploys helicopters, destroyers, and mine-clearing missions to forcibly sweep the strait and protect commercial shipping. To avoid international legal blowback, the U.S. relies on a specific loophole. By officially labeling these airstrikes as defensive and preventative, they avoid declaring outright war while dismantling Iranian military infrastructure. While the legal battle over the strikes continues, the actual diplomatic venue has moved away from traditional regional capitals. Qatar occupies a highly unusual position. It successfully mediates the peace talks with Tehran while simultaneously hosting the Al Udeid Air Base, one of the largest American military installations in the region. This dual role has left other regional players behind. Pakistani leaders, like Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, spent months positioning themselves as mediators, only to be entirely frozen out of these talks and recent Abraham Accord discussions. With the Doha talks now the only active channel between Washington and Tehran, Qatar has secured a level of diplomatic access that Pakistan, despite months of public lobbying, simply could not reach. The objective of the Doha negotiations centers on a specific trade: unfreezing heavily sanctioned Iranian financial assets in exchange for neutralizing Tehran's enriched uranium stockpile. Donald Trump recently issued a public ultimatum, demanding that Iran immediately surrender or destroy all of its enriched uranium. The bombs dropped on Bandar Abbas are the kinetic enforcement of that demand. The United States is destroying naval assets to force compliance on the nuclear issue. While negotiators continue to meet in Doha, the timeline for a final agreement remains entirely uncertain, while the violence actively escalates. The strict division between conflict and diplomacy has collapsed. Airstrikes are now the punctuation marks in modern diplomatic negotiations.